With the release of Elden Ring's expansive new, expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree, shield users are eating good right now. Shields you can throw, shields you can poke with, shields you can hide behind like a coward to beat the final boss. Couldn't be me. But amongst all the hype, there's one little smoky accessory that quietly called out to me in the night. It said, "Baron, please use me to beat the DLC and use the footage to edit into a video." Oh, alright then. Can you beat Shadow of the Erdtree with the Shield of Night? Yeah, of course you can, but it's all about the journey, innit? He shoots, he scores. Oh, what, you want the rules? I have to beat Shadow of the Erdtree by only attacking with the Shield of Night. It's right there in the title. Shall we get on with this? A quick disclaimer. This run was completed before patch 1.13 dropped, which subsequently buffed this shield slightly. So if you're watching this thinking, hey, that shield actually seems decent, well, it's even decenter now. Cool? Cool. Oh, hi there. It's just me, a level 1 character all ready to enter the DLC. Whilst I had accumulated a full collection of spells, crystal tears and talismans to help me on my way, I wouldn't be taking any runes or smithing stones with me into the Land of Shadow, as I'd be able to find everything I would need to level up once there. But wait, isn't it really hard to beat Mohg at level 1? Well, sure, but of course I am a really skilled player, as you can see from this footage. Now, I know that to the uninitiated, it might seem as though I'm doing nothing at all here, but the reality is that my dodges are too fast for the human eye to perceive, so you'll just have to take my word for it, because of course, I am incredibly skilled at this game. Yeah. Anyway, where was I? Hello cutie, you seem nice, I hope you don't turn out to be a complete psychopath. I touched the withered arm, admired the non-existent cutscene, and was transported to Gravesite Plain to begin my journey in earnest. Now, I have mixed feelings about this DLC overall, but there's no denying one thing. It looks beautiful, and this 50 Shades of Brown palette is a heartwarming tribute to Dark Souls 3, you sly dog Miyazaki. First order of business was to get hold of the Shield of Night from Bonnie Jail so I could start doing damage to stuff. But I couldn't ignore another one of the DLC's strengths along the way, and that is Leda's motley gang of NPCs. So I made sure to catch up with Strawman, This is Sparta, Uncle Gale, Dom Havel and Sleepy Joe to begin their quest lines, before taking the Spirit Spring up to the Fort of Reprimand, where I helped myself to a free 95k in the form of a Shadow Realm Room 4 and a Marika's Room, allowing me to level up a little to get myself 30 Vigour, 15 Endurance, 16 Dex and 12 Int. I'm sure that'll be fine. Yep, looks beautiful. After stopping off in the outskirts of Bonnie Village to get the Oh Mother emote, which I'd need for later, I made my way into the jail itself for a casual dose of body horror. I was a little lost, but these helpful guys gave me a push in the right direction, and I got my hands on my chosen Deathbringer for this run, the Shield of Night. Mirror, mirror on my shield, let my future be revealed!
You are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
Wow, okay. Aside from looking like it should be owned by a Disney witch, what is there to say about this unassuming little thing? Well, gently tickling people with the pointy end does a combination of physical and magic damage. The weapon art shoots out a small weak magic bolt, but its damage can be hugely increased when activated immediately after blocking, like a guard counter. This attack does pure magic damage. So of course, the shield scales with Dex. Oh, you've done it again, Miyazaki. At least now I could start hurting things other than the people closest to me. I definitely need to upgrade this. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to get hold of Somber Stones in the DLC. I obtained 4 of the ones I needed from the Forges, and 4 more from Castlensis, got the shield up to +8, levelled up a little more with some runes I'd found, and did the rounds of collecting as many Scooby Snacks as I could get my hands on to compensate for the fact I was still level 40. Of course, what I really needed right now was more runes, and what better way to get them than to go and kill a nice easy boss.
O horn-decked beast from higher sphere delivered.
Yeah, I got this. Welp. Okay, look, I am open to the slight possibility that I, in fact, don't got this. Fuck your great rune, Mikola. There was no point in bashing my head against a brick wall when I could just power up. And, just like the main game, the Shadowlands offer you many opportunities to access later game areas early on, especially since you can just enter the Shadowkeep via the Church District to skip the Golden Hippo. Unfortunately for my unfocused arse, this meant I spent over an hour just riding around unlocking stuff for the hell of it. Not because I'm easily distracted or anything, just, ooh, pretty view. There was a very small amount of method to my madness though. Not only did I pick up enough fragments en route to reach Blessing 11 already, but I also grabbed another Marika's room from the Shadowtree base to get up to 40 vigour and 25 dex. The final missing piece of the puzzle was a Dragon Somber Ancient Stone of Smithing 10, or whatever the hell they're called. And the easiest way to get one of these would be to take out the Ghost Flame Dragon near Bellarat. By take out, I don't mean on a date, I mean kill. Obviously, I have standards. Now, I mentioned earlier that using the weapon art immediately after blocking an attack does big, or at least moderately average sized damage, but I was still a little too puny to exploit that tactic. The shield's base stability and resistances meant I'd probably just die from chip damage and staggers if I tried. So for now, I had to fall back on the old reliable duo of shield bashes and tiny ejaculations. That doesn't mean I couldn't give myself an extra advantage though. Using the Golden Epitaph Sword's Ash of War grants a flat holy damage boost to all currently equipped items, including my shield, and Ghost Flame Dragons are super weak to holy. With the foul chicken suitably roasted, I was rewarded with a Smithing Somber Ancient 10 Stone of Dragons, as well as 100k to pump into dex. Shh, don't tell anyone though. Time for round 2 with a Divine Dancing Lion Beast. Dancing Divine Beast Lion? No sweat. Now I could progress through the DLC and... What do you mean he's optional? Not if I want to get a nice warming bowl of scorpion stew from Gran, he isn't. Also, yep, looks beautiful. My build, if you can really call it that, was still nothing more than a mewling baby, so I'd need to force feed it some growth hormones in order to unleash its true power. I picked up a couple of useful talismans in the form of the +3 variants of Spelldrake and Flamedrake, from Castellensis and Fort of Reprimand respectively, scooped up more fragments from around the map in a random order that's indicative of my current state of mind, gave Ansbach the secret right scroll, but didn't pass on his letter to Freya to ensure she doesn't show up in the final dungeon, and told Moore to respectfully go fuck himself. Yeah, you won't be saying that when he throws rock pots at you every 0.7 seconds during the gank fight. Next on the list was the issue of being able to use my shield counter properly. Now, this thing is distinctly average when used as, well, an actual shield, and actually blocking constantly with it would stack up chip damage pretty fast. But luckily, the DLC has a ready-made solution for this problem, and all you need to do is take down the first furnace golem you come across. A concise and handy 3-step guide to beating the furnace golem. Now with 50% extra stupid. Throw furnace pots into their basket. If furnace pots aren't available, attack them with your weapon until they stagger and fall. Once on the ground, riposte them in the face for massive damage. Yeah, this might take a while. I'd go and make a coffee if I was you. Whilst this was not in any way rewarding in the spiritual sense, it was in the physical sense, in that killing it literally rewarded me with the deflecting hard tier. This gem of a crystal tier lasts 5 minutes, and while active, lets you deflect attacks while taking heavily reduced damage by timing your blocks, which synergizes perfectly with the shield's Ash of War. And all I have to do is time my blocks properly. No problem. Here's the build then. Magic Shrouding Crack tier and Deflecting tier in the flask. Spellblade set for the damage boost. Shard of Alexander stays on, even in bed. Great Shield Talisman for better blocking, and whilst I generally opted for damage reduction talismans in the other 2 slots, you could equally go for something like Magic Scorpion or Ritual Sword for more punch. I also farmed the nobles in the castle for a Glintstone Staff, so I could cast Scholar's Shield for some extra insurance in case of missed deflects or the tier running out. I should probably test this on a boss or something. Come here, not Renala. R'Larna is the perfect boss to try out this setup, since she does a mix of melee and ranged attacks, both of which can be countered by the shield. Trying to shield counter mid-combo is asking for trouble, but that meant I could just stay out of the way of a lot of her combos and only deflect the last hit to get the counter. She also has a number of ranged attacks which can be countered, like her horizontal magic slash, the glint blades if you're far enough away to not eat the inevitable follow-up, or the last hit of her 5-piece bucket in phase 2. And of course, sometimes there's no substitute for just bashing someone's head in with a shield. It took me roughly an hour of attempts to understand exactly what attacks I could get away with countering and how to space her effectively, since the hitboxes on her swords are suspiciously long. And on my winning attempt, the deflecting tier ran out well before the end of the fight, meaning I had to play things very safe to close it out. But with one final dart, R'Larna fell, I leveled up, stepped out into a brand new area. Oh, I've already been here. What do you mean she's optional?
I will soon feast upon your heart! Mark my words! You too shall know fear!
It's Egon's world, and we're all just living in it. After running away from one ancient dragon man just to end up in the arms of another, I consoled myself by admiring an ancient dragon baddie, whipped out my best Kendrick impression to destroy a Drake, watched Egon give me the finger, and returned to the Shadowkeep to fight the worst boss in the DLC. The worst boss in the DLC so far. The Golden Hippo. I'd love to say something good about this fight, but no, I got nothing. Awful arena, awful camera, awful hitboxes, nonsensical attacks. Next! With Miquella's Great Rune broken, I could now enter the Fissure in order to take on Putrescent Knight. On my first playthrough of the DLC, I struggled a little with this guy, mainly because of his weird timings of movement. On this run, not so much. I never realised quite how squishy he actually is, and he gives you plenty of counter opportunities. First try, easy GG's. Removing the knight opens up the path to the enigmatic Saint Trina. Yes, milady, I will drink your bathwater. Turns out that Tiolier is actually a tier 3 Saint Trina simp. So, upon hearing that she spoke to me and not him, he attempted to take me out of the equation. He's not very good at maths. Should have studied the blade instead of the poison bottle, you dipshit. I should probably check up on the other NPCs too.
The scent of the killer that slept within me. The stench of crusted blood. The cascading sheets of blood.
It's fine, I like him a little bit unstable. And also helping Leda to kill Hornsent ensures he won't show up during the gank fight. I'll draw the line at hurting my best bro Anne's back though. You've gone too far now, you sociopath.
Perhaps I should have known not to challenge the two of you alone.
Ooh, Miyazaki, I better not catch you hiding a huge portion of the map behind a coffin ride that's in turn hidden behind an illusory wall that's in turn hidden by a hard-to-spot ladder in Shadowkeep. God damn it. Now, I have to apologise for lying to you earlier when I called Golden Hippo the worst boss in the DLC. This POS is actually the worst boss in the DLC. The worst boss in the DLC so far. I don't know exactly what went on in the design process here, but I imagine the notes went something along the lines of, fuck it, Magus and Congregation 2 Holy Boogaloo. Yeah, you can trivialise this boss with poise breaks or backstabs. That doesn't make it good. Jesus Christ, Jory, can you tell your fat girlfriend to stop jumping me? I'm not interested in swinging with you guys. 0 out of 10 would not wish on my worst enemy, who happens to be Jory. At least making it through Darklight Catacombs rewards you with the spookiest dookiest area of the game. Oh boy, I hope there's more than just 50,000 rats here. Fortunately, there is, in the form of Midra's Manse. The Manse itself is pretty simple to get through, but it does hide an amazing secret. An actually good boss. Midra is peak cinema, and not only is he my second favourite boss in this DLC, I think he's one of the few bosses where they got the balance of spamminess versus fun just right, since you can hard counter most of his madness attacks by just sticking to him like glue, and he doesn't constantly force you to run away from him. I gotta knock 1 point off my final rating just for having to redo this stupid mini phase every time. Was that really necessary, guys? But yeah, top tier boss. Just look at this shit. So, Rina. She's definitely one of the bosses of this DLC. Yep. She definitely has a health bar and some attacks. Like the spinny one. Or the spinny one. Or the one where she spins. Oh yeah, there's also the one that looks pretty that you just run away from. And the one with the funky hitboxes. So, yeah. Rina, everyone. Woohoo! Still would though. I mean, what?
Mongrel intruder.
Oh, hey Mesmer. How's that Ice Spice impression coming along? Yeah, needs some work, my guy. My biggest mistake of this playthrough was fighting Mesmer so soon after Midra, because he's the best boss of the DLC, which means now I have to do another one of those montage thingies. Oh, it's tough making content.
America, a curse upon thee.
So, I have to burn a tree to progress the story. I can't help but feel a weird sense of deja vu. With the ceiling tree suitably carbonised, Enim was finally revealed to me. Yep, looks beautiful. Now, this might be the final dungeon of the DLC, but that didn't mean that I was ready to wrap things up just yet. Firstly, I went to the Cathedral of Manus Meta to meet Ymir, a mildly suspicious weirdo who tasked me with blowing some gigantic whistles because it made him feel all tingly, or something.
Simply exhilarating, I must say.
After giving me his final map, which quite clearly directed me to the exact building I was currently standing in, I headed down into the depths of the Finger Ruins, dispatched the minor irritation that is Anna, and prepared myself to fight Meta. Damn, Meta got hands! Now, if a perfect boss is 10 out of 10, and then you knock a point off for weird hitboxes, and another one for your arena having an invisible barrier that you can't see until you're literally right next to it, one more for spamming AoEs back to back to back to back to back, another point for the cardinal sin of summoning ads into the fight, and then minus another 5 points for a completely nonsensical attack. That gives Meta a perfect 1 out of 10 score. What I'm saying is that this is the worst fight in the DLC. The worst fight so far. Cool death animation though. For some reason, despite having sent me down there himself, Ymir seemed unhappy with me. Come on Ymir, what else was gonna happen when you sent the Tarnish down there? Don't you know I'm a boss killing machine? Think Ymir! Think! How you getting on down there, Tiolier? Okay, cool. Keep up that positive attitude. I really don't like the Erdtree avatar boss much, but I can't even make the worst boss in the DLC joke again for this one, because it isn't. Also, it has relatively low HP, even across all 3 phases, has a few moves I could consistently counter with the shield to chunk some big damage, and the shift in the OST during the 3rd phase is great. The big explodey attack is a nightmare when you first fight this boss, but once you get used to how to roll it, it just gives you a nice damage window to exploit, even if I was restricted to mostly just prodding it with the end of my shield. After only a small handful of attempts, Flowey the Flower got sent back to the underground, and I could turn my attention to the actual worst boss in the DLC. No disclaimer this time. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you! Honestly, I'd say more about this fight, but Gaius drains my energy so much that it's still exhausting to think about now. Funnily enough, on the attempt where I actually beat him, I had a pretty horrible start, ended up chugging my way through several flasks, and considered just throwing the attempt to start again. But, I don't know, something inside me clicked. Probably some kind of deep-seated hatred for this bore-humping, gravity-tossing, legless pile of vomit-tinged excrement that burned me up inside like cheap tequila, and I locked in, got into the zone, put my head down, got stuck in, and all the other things that mean focusing really hard. And hey, I beat him. Go me! Time to reward myself with a nice bowl. If nobody got me, I know that Gran got me. Can I get an amen? It was time to seek out the most powerful force in Elden Ring. The power of friendship. Alongside alien gods and fingers, obviously. I'll be honest, it's mainly the latter. But still, friendship is important. Which is why, despite the fact I wouldn't normally summon for challenge runs, there are 2 notable exceptions for this DLC, because they enhance the story so much. So, I headed out on a tour to collect all the revered spirit ashes I'd missed along the way, as I wasn't sure whether they actually affected NPC summons or not, and progressed to the top of the jagged peak to bear witness to the real main character of Elden Ring. You got this, Egon! Don't worry about me! I believe in you! Spoiler. I didn't really believe in him at all. Boy was I rocked.
With a hail of harpoons! With every last drop of my being!
Do you mind? I'm trying to do my voiceover here. I thought I might be here for a while, since this fight can get quite chaotic and I still didn't know it that well. What I didn't account for was Egon being an absolute tank and managing to stay alive like a champ until almost the very end of the fight. Do not fear, my Drake-slaying brethren, I will avenge you. First try, don't know what I was so worried about. RIP my angry little buddy, best hype man ever. Bye, have a nice day! Enim is a cool looking dungeon, but I wish they'd made it a little less linear. The super secret hidden path back to Ballarat is a neat touch though, but this chapter isn't about finding disappointingly underwhelming legendary weapons.
Hold up.
It's about friendship. Mainly about how you shouldn't be friends with psychos, because they'll always change their minds and try to kill you. Luckily, I brought the lads with me. I mean, Tiolier is about as helpful as a blindfold in a blizzard, but at least I've got Anne's back. This fight is so much less painful when it's only Dane and Leda. With the gankers ganked, I was ready to face the final... Wait, what do you mean I missed some bosses? Okay, fine. Guess I'll just go kill every other boss in the DLC then. Watch me.
I freed the knight from the black jail and slayed a drake that was not bell. The vile lamenter tried to well and I killed a black knight too. The dragon spewed its ghostly flames, the other dragon did the the same from software, please not this again. And I killed a Black Knight too. And who the fuck are you?
No, seriously.
This dude thinks that he's a bear. This bear thinks he's Horaloo. And the thing with bears is they come in pairs, just like you know who. So the dancer danced, and Rakshasa swung a blade, and I fought a flying midget in a cave. He's so brave. Among the fingers to the east, the falling stars became a beast. For demi-humans, life's a beach, and I killed the Death Knight too. From software must smoke crack and shit to come up with some trash like this, and that's not how you spell labyrinth.
Oh no, no. Keep that nightmare fuel away from me. The things I do for content.
Then I killed the Death Knight too.
Oh, and you best believe that I cheesed the absolute hell out of this utterly garbage boss. Happy now? Oh man, I can't believe Miquella's plan all along was to resurrect Miranda the Blighted Bloom by stuffing her soul into the body of an ulcerated tree spirit. Just kidding, it's this guy.
Somehow General Radahn returned.
If you've played this DLC, you know the absolute migraine of a fight that's coming up. And, you know, I'd love to show you a clean, impressive, highly skilled victory, but unfortunately you're shit out of luck, because my winning attempt was a bit of a mess. It was late, I'd been trying the fight for a couple of hours, my hands were starting to cramp up, and I was genuinely intending it to be my last attempt before turning in for the night. Phase 1 wasn't clean. Phase 2 definitely wasn't. But somehow I managed to not die, even if I did have to clutch it with America's blessing at one point because I ran out of heals. But a win is a win however it comes. So here it is, in all its blinding AoE spamming glory. Well, there it is. RIP to PCR, I guess. My ordeal was over, and I had beaten Shadow of the Erdtree using only the Shield of Night. Now, I get to play with some cool new weapons that definitely don't just look like ones I had already. I mean, I get to use an awesome new incantation. I mean, I get to watch an interesting and engaging end cutscene that reveals new lore to me. God damn it. At least I get a nice new headband. Worth it.